For the first time since 2021, the Bloodline has a new member with Solo Sikoa. So we'll take a look at that story that's already being teased for him. We'll also check out a lot of new updates for Roman Reigns, The Rock, WrestleMania 39, Sami Zayn, and much more. Let's start things off with everything Roman Reigns related. After Roman retained his title at Clash at the Castle, we talked about how that may be a good indication that Roman is not losing the title anytime soon. And that's what reports are now claiming as well. Reports claim that Roman's Universal title reign is fully safe for the remainder of 2022. There is some rumors and theories that WWE may find a way to split the titles and get the WWE title back over to Raw. So he may lose that title in some fashion in the near future. But as far as the actual Universal title itself goes, that's not going anywhere. And Roman will walk into WrestleMania 39 as Universal Champion, according to these reports. The reason why Roman's title reign is continuing into the middle of next year is allegedly because WWE wants to officially crown him as the legend of this new generation. That's what the reports claim. Each era in WWE history had a couple of faces that had just represented the entire era and were legendary figures in the business. From individuals like Bruno to Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker, John Cena, and more. All these superstars that are legendary, globally known megastars of their respective eras. Before Roman came along, some of the criticism that WWE faced was that John Cena was the last mega legendary star that they could create, and how no megastars were being created after him. Well, as everyone knows, Vince McMahon and WWE were strongly behind Roman Reigns from day one. They knew if anyone was going to be the next face of the company, that it would be him. Now, obviously, their initial plan of using him in this massive babyface role before he was properly ready backfired horribly. And the fans felt like they were being force-fed Roman Reigns, so they fully rejected him. And they never seemed to fully get it right with Roman Reigns until summer 2020. Roman Reigns came back full of new life after a long hiatus during the pandemic, and brought back with him a whole new heel act and character. He captured the Universal title 7 days after his return, eventually linked up with Paul Heyman and the Usos, creating something legendary and never looked back. Even before this historic Universal title reign, you could argue that Roman already had a legendary career. He had wins over John Cena, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, AJ Styles, multiple world title wins, and all these other all-time great accomplishments long before 2020. But now you take a look at all his previous accomplishments and add on what could be a 1,000-day plus title reign, and now you have a stat sheet that not even the all-time greats can match up against. So that's the idea behind letting Roman's title reign slowly pour into year 3 in 2023. It's just so that they can undoubtedly put him up there with the all-time greats and face of the post-John Cena era of WWE. And there was even another report earlier in the year that said WWE would start referring to Roman Reigns as the GOAT in 2023. So that earlier report and this new report seem to really be matching up well with each other. Roman will just be presented as the greatest to ever do it heading into WrestleMania 39 season and his 7th WrestleMania main event. If he main events WrestleMania 39 like everyone expects him to, then he'll only be one away from tying Hulk Hogan for the most WrestleMania main event appearances in history with 8. Reports also claim that Triple H could be sticking with Vince McMahon's original planned out direction for Roman Reigns. According to the reports, Vince McMahon's vision was to build Roman up even more heading into WrestleMania 39, have him defeat The Rock at the main event, maybe surpass 1,000 days as champion, drop the title shortly after WrestleMania 39, and then turn babyface. So if Triple H does stick with Vince's original plan for Roman Reigns, That might be what the next 6 to 8 months will look like in Roman's story and direction in WWE. When it comes to Roman's WrestleMania 39 opponent, The Rock and Cody Rhodes remains the two options. One of the things fans are looking into that may be a bit of a reach was The Rock's recent NFL appearance. The NFL season kicked off with its first game inside of SoFi Stadium, future home of WrestleMania 39. The Rock was live and in person to introduce the LA Rams onto the field. He was also there earlier in the year for the 2022 Super Bowl. So fans are feeling like if The Rock can always stop by this arena when the NFL is in town, could he potentially be in the same arena when WWE comes into town with WrestleMania 39? So those are Roman's top two options for the WrestleMania 39 main event. If he faces The Rock, he'll surely defeat him and win that matchup. But on the other hand, if he faces Cody Rhodes, that may be a scarier matchup that Roman could actually lose. So buckle in for a few more months of Roman's historic title reign with potentially a return from The Rock being on the horizon. Speaking of Roman and the Bloodline, that brings us to a little story that appears to be teased between Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa. Sami has spent the last few months earning the Bloodline's trust and earning himself a small role in the group. Although the Bloodline can end up abusing Sami Zayn's loyalty towards them at times, he still seems very happy with his position. But what Sami Zayn wasn't happy with was how he was left out of the plans for Clash at the Castle. Roman had no Paul Heyman and no Usos by his side, but he came prepared with a backup plan of having the debuting Solo Sikoa save his title reign. Solo posted a tweet about Clash at the Castle with a caption reading that blood always comes first. Sami Zayn quoted that tweet with the message, quote, "Blood is important, sure, but it should never be used as a reason to exclude people. I'm not saying you or anyone else would do that, just making a general statement. Okay, anyways, look forward to meeting you soon, Us." End quote. So Sami made sure to end his tweet towards Solo Sikoa on a friendly note, but he still voiced his frustration. He wasn't happy with being left out of the Clash plans. He was left fully out of the loop. Sami has always played a big role for the Bloodline over the last few months, and obviously they benefited greatly from having that extra body around for people that they were dealing with, like Drew McIntyre. But as expected, Solo Sikoa could very well end up taking Sami Zayn's spot. The Bloodline may decide to now dump Sami Zayn since they have Solo to replace that position. The Usos obviously preferred their own brother over Sami Zayn, so it'll be a very easy decision for them to make. So maybe that could end up being Solo's first task for the Bloodline, to take out Sami Zayn and get him out of the Bloodline for good. It's a great way to introduce Solo in a dominant way, while also building sympathy for Sami Zayn. Sami would go on to regroup and reunite with Kevin Owens, before coming back and getting revenge on the Bloodline and the Usos. So as usual, there's a lot of new and exciting stories and directions surrounding Roman Reigns' island of relevancy. But what are your thoughts on today's stories with the potential plans for Roman Reigns heading into WrestleMania 39? And what could be happening with Sami Zayn versus Solo Sikoa? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.